When I say the words flesh and I say the words spirit, what comes to mind? Let me read something to you here from Romans 8:5-8. It says, "Those who live according to the flesh have their minds or their thoughts set on what the flesh desires. But those who live in accordance with the Spirit have their minds, their thoughts, their intentions set on what the Spirit desires. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. The mind governed by the flesh, listen to this, is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those who are in the realm of the flesh cannot please God." Wow, this is incredibly important. So we need to really understand the difference between the flesh and the Spirit. So here's point number 1. The Spirit is that which aligns with God's will and God's word. That which is in us, if you're born of God, which is in agreement and submission to God's will and God's word, is the Spirit, or birthed from the Spirit of God. If we set our minds on those things, the Bible tells us it leads to life. Number 2, second point is the flesh, that which aligns with sinful appetites and attitudes opposed to God's will. That is your flesh, and that's what ultimately leads to death. If we follow those things, they lead us to very dangerous, very deadly places. So point number 3 is more of a question. Is your life being governed by the flesh or by the Spirit? Number 4, are you doing life according to, and I want to bring this out and make it very, very clear, are you doing life according to your will or God's will? That ultimately is the difference between doing life in the flesh and doing life in the Spirit. Again, are you doing life according to your will or God's will? What is your number 1 consideration, you or God? This is incredibly important. Listen, real problems require real solutions, and I want to encourage you to find those solutions in God's Word today.